Hello everyone, Wingman here. Today I want to talk about a company that I want to stake my flag in this year, as I think it will be one of the biggest stories of 2024, but also to help individuals that are new to the space on how to evaluate a company. I don't see many videos like this, and I thought it might be beneficial for newer people in the space. That being said, if you are familiar with the Sendero Resources story, I don't want to waste your time. If you think you're going to gain any new information from this, probably not. Who knows? Maybe I will touch on something that you did not consider, but do not expect me to go in depth with Sendero Resources. This is more for an example for due diligence and what I check out when reviewing a company. So first, you obviously want to check out their company website. And the first thing I do when I check out a company is I go to the corporate presentation. I pulled it up here already. This is not due diligence. In my opinion, this is to get a flavor of the company and understand it better. So it's the flavor. What are they trying? Are they, first of all, can they tell their story in a concise manner? Do you understand what they're telling you? So why invest in Sendero right in front? Why invest? Prime jurisdiction. Look at, we have 120 square kilometers in the Verkula district. Outstanding team, attractive valuation. No, I always look for people. People are significant. This man deserved his own slide. Do not pass the individuals so fast. Take the time to read each of their bios. Google their names. Look at them on LinkedIn. See what their work history is like. Is there a gap in their work history or some vagueness? Successful at a gold exploration company. Which exploration company? Do some due diligence on some of the people that matter, especially if they're reflexively individuals. Look into them. See why they are putting their name behind the story. And first of all, if their name is of any significance. Capital structure, you guys, if you listen to any video so far, you know, big proponent of a small denominator in the shares. This is a dilutive industry. You hit or you try and hit some nice drill results to get the market excited, and then you immediately be opportunistic and finance on the news. We just talked about NICAN, limited ticker NICN. Actually, I'll just pull it up for you guys here. Look at this stock. In 1 week, boom, they released drill results. The same week, they announced the financing. That's just how this industry works. You just hope that the drill results are good enough that you can announce financing on favorable terms. That's just the name of the game. Look at January 31st, 2.2% at 31 meters. The market obviously loved it. They went straight to financing. Just the name of the game. I expect the same with Sendero when that happens, if it happens, if they do hit. But capital structure, so you might as well start small because that number is only going to increase. And you see who's inside of it. Ideally, it's nice to see less than 50% retail. When we say high net worth individuals in retail, I don't know what the composition is, how tight the float is. In this company, we speculate it's not that much of a float. That's want to look at warrants, how many and to what proportion of the overall share count is there. If there's a lot of warrants, it can really struggle breaking that exercise price. So in this case, 30 cents, maybe it'll struggle. But with this company specifically, it's really not that many warrants compared to how many shares outstanding. That it should not cause too much of a ceiling there. So yeah, review, see what their flavor is. Like these guys, they're obviously highlighting their location and their team. There's a lot to look forward to in this company. but you might recognize Fuel del Sol, Jose Maria, Lundin Mining, NGX. They're in the right district, which is obviously another thing to look over. So look over, they explain their targets. If you're not a geologist, this is more for a presentation. Like, yes, they have stuff written on this slide, but if you're not a geologist, you have to find a webinar or call up management and have them explain what is the significance of this. Because you can see in this one, the fault structure is actually very important. You wouldn't know that just by looking at this. There's a lot of things on this slide that they actually point out why it's so interesting and attractive of a target. Very hard to do without talking to management or watching some video. That's another form of due diligence, is looking at the video. Anyway, so the corporate deck for flavor. You want to check out the news release. I always like to look at the news, get an understanding. This is a new company, so they don't have much for the news. Their trading debut on October 4th. And you see, they're not promotional. They're not releasing just any random news. Pursue drill permits, mobilizing drill rigs, commencing drilling. You gotta be cautious with one company that we do have in our portfolio that does the exact opposite as First Phosphate. They release every little bit of news. I'm not really a fan of that. I do prefer these news releases that are just to the point, not too promotional. Another thing I wanted to go through is CDAR Plus, the dreadful CDAR Plus. You have to review technical reports and financial statements as part of the due diligence process, and I don't think I've seen someone show you how to use CDAR Plus. So I'll show you right now. You go to cdarplus.ca. You click on search CDAR Plus. You don't want to type in the company name. In this case, Mineral Resources. Now, you want to look at the document type. For Canada, there's a 43101 report. So you might have heard of that. We want to look at the technical report, because this is very important. See technical report. And you'll see if you go to submitted dates. This is what's so tricky about CDAR Plus. It's not that common sense if you don't know what to do, but you see that now, once I hit submitted date, there it is. What I also like to do is generate URL, copy the link, and paste. And there you go. You have access to the technical report. There's a lot to look over. Ideally, you want to look over the whole report, but as you can see, it's a 142-page report. There's some specific things you want to look at. You want to read the summary, read the introduction summary of that, but at the very least, read the summary. You want to know the history of the project, who owned the property, did they do any drilling? If so, how much and at what time? Because this is where you're going to generate the questions for management. You should be reviewing this report and writing down questions. Why? Like, for example, let's go to the history. And you can see the dates people owned some of these properties. I believe, like you can see, from 2019 to 2014, Anglo American was the last company to conduct exploratory work in Christian 1, 2, 3, and Angela 2, 3 mining concessions. 833 different types of samples were collected. And you can see during the period between 2011, 6 diamond drill holes were drilled. So they drilled the property 6 times. Why didn't they like what they saw in those 6 drill holes? I believe in this case specifically, I believe Michael said that they were drilling in the wrong direction, but you want to understand, why did the company own it? Why did they sell it? Etc., etc. We might like there's certain things like maybe risks. There should be one. Yeah, you can use Control F too. Risks and uncertainties. I like to read this risks and uncertainties. Um, just like for example, right here, the project is located at a high elevation in the Andes Mountains. Did you know that? If such environments that receive significant volumes of snowfall, there is a minor risk that snow accumulation may prevent access to preferred drilling sites during the summer exploration season. Another thing, you could look royalties. Do they have any royalties? I'd like to know if there's royalties on the property. It doesn't look like they stated here, but that would be something I'd want to write down to call up management and ask management if there are any royalties on the property. You want to look at the executive summary, property description, the location, the geologic interpretations, what else? It's really like the environmental, social, and water issues, if any. You want to read this report as much as you can. If you can have the patience and really, if you're putting your hard-earned money on the line, you should be reading the technical report. The same goes for financial statements. Now, you could see some of them don't put it on their website. I don't think Sendero has financial statements on the website. You want to look at cash position, ideally an exploration company without zero debt. Um, things like this, financial statements, technical reports. But I hope that helps you seeing how to use CDR Plus because it's simple if someone shows you, but I don't think people bother to look. And if you're new to the space, be honest with yourself. Have you ever looked at a technical report before? So that's another thing I would mention. I really don't want this to be super long. I try and respect the time and the length of these discussions. But with the technical report, by reviewing the corporate deck, their recent news releases, their financial statements, that covers a large percentage of your due diligence right there. And you should be coming up with questions. Maybe with time you will get better at knowing which questions to ask, but that's a good start. That's definitely a good start. You should call management. They're like another thing is how much eyeballs are on the story and who's watching the story. Like for this one, again, I'm just using Sendero as an example. I like to see how frequently they're uploading videos. This company came out in October. How much coverage is on the matter? Our friend over at Junior Resource Investing covered them. That's great to see. We know that they were Coffin from HRA Advisors covered them a couple months ago. But it's not extremely promotionable. They have one with Crocs 3 months ago. You want to see how many of these they do and how often, and you be the judge. And what quality of content, who's covering them. We just touched on Metal Investor Forum. For those of you who don't know, that's a newsletter writer type conference where they select the companies to join. And it looks like three of the newsletter writers picked Sendero for 4 months ago. Oh, there's Eric Coffin. Chen Lin's a legitimate newsletter writer. Really like Chen. And Glenn Preston, we're a resource maven. So there's coverage. It's another form of the due diligence is you want to see how they present themselves. How do they hold themselves when they're, I don't, YouTube, I don't know. I don't have anything on it. Stupid ads. So you want to see how they present themselves, how they ask questions, uh, learn about the story. For Sendero Resources, actually, you can go to their YouTube channel if they have one. You want to watch the webinar. Definitely worth watching this webinar. You don't want to miss this one because for non-geologists, they explain why they're excited about these targets and a little bit about their background. There's a Q&A session. Webinars are a great way to do due diligence. And I guess we might as well go to the last one, which does have its part. It's not as significant, but it does matter. I guess the chart too. Never brought up the chart. With this chart, just IPO'd on October 4th. You know, it didn't see much movement, but then it's a healthy looking chart. It's a steady growing chart. Market cap 25 million. If you start reviewing the story, you'll realize, wow, like it seems like a good value for what they're drilling. I'm not gonna do a pitch on Sendero, but review the chat forums. I think it's beneficial. You start to know who are legitimate people, who are technical individuals, and who are pump and dumpers, and you can get an idea of the retail base. How many people are already in the story? Is it saturated? Like you really don't want to see. I don't want to see it on the trending right away. Which I don't know. It is. It is selling. I don't know. Maybe like 20. Like you don't want to be up here. Like that's a red flag for me. When it's the number one trending stock, it's a red flag for me. I'm not like look at. There's a reason why it's the most trending, and there's a lot of talk around it. But I like to be in it before that pop, that correction. Anyway, I'm gonna respect your guys' time. Hopefully, this provided value. Let me know if it did or not in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed, in the description, we have a newsletter. We send out newsletters. We try and do it 5 days a week. I haven't even used it under this phone. Mine is way mad. But give it a read. Check it out. Subscribe if you want the news that catches eye during the week. There's places like oh, I'm drawing a blank now. Shift. Junior Mining Network, is that what it's called? If I'm not mistaken. Subscribe to their newsletter too. They provide a full of all the headlines. We try and add a little more than just the headlines, but to get all the headlines, you can sign up to them. I know CEO.ca has their own newsletter, but you want to be keeping your eyes open on the space at all times. Anyway, that's it. Have a good one. Take care. Until next time. Bye.